Welcome everyone to Gamer Melt. Today there's a huge PC hardware sale, so I wanted to get this out as quickly as I could. If you're not interested in that, there's still a ton of really big stories to cover, starting with RTX 4090 reviews, new RTX 4080 benchmarks, free Nvidia performance, and the RTX 4090 Ti is already on the way. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, Amazon is having some kind of new Prime early sales event. It reminds me of their Prime Day sales event, and the deals are definitely really good just like that. So I thought I'd go over my favorite PC hardware deals, and of course, if you're interested in any of these, I'll have affiliate links down in the description below. They don't cost you anything more, and it helps the channel out. Starting with AMD's Ryzen 9 5900X. Of course, this is AMD's last generation of parts, but if you aren't wanting to jump on an AM5 just yet, this is a really good deal. As you can see, it's 41% off, bringing it down to $334 for a 12-core, 24-thread CPU. Next, we have the Ryzen 5 5600G, which is an APU, meaning it comes with an integrated GPU. And it's currently 50% off, down to $129.99. This is a 6-core 12-thread CPU with an integrated GPU. That is a great deal. Next, if you prefer Intel, their 11600KF, which is a 6-core CPU, is on sale right now for 44% off for $156.74. Next, if you're looking for a really fast PCI Express 4.0 SSD, look no further than this Crucial P5. Yes, it's only a 500GB drive, but if you're wanting to use it as, say, a boot drive, this would be really good. As of right now, it's 42% off, bringing it down to $57.99. Of course, if you want a little bit more, this 2TB PCI Express 4.0 drive is only $169.99. Let's just say prices on NVMe drives are plummeting, and this definitely looks good. Next, if you need a new PSU, Corsair is a really great brand, and they actually have their 650-watt PSU. Now, this is not modular, but still a really good PSU for just $40. Moving on, if you're wanting something a little bit more powerful and maybe a little bit more flashy, ASUS's ROG Thor 850 watt is 47% off, down to just $131.99. And next up for today, Nvidia's RTX 4090 has officially been released. And with that, I will go ahead and say that I also have affiliate links for that, as well as the A770 and A750, Intel's new Arc GPUs, which were also released today. I'll have those links down in the description as well. Once again, they are affiliate links, so they help the channel out. Either way, reviews have dropped, and performance is really right at what we saw in leaks leading up to it. As you can see down here, the 4090 is a significant boost over last gen, absolutely, but it's not really anywhere near that double performance and rasterization that we saw before. I believe those were specifically with DLSS 3.0. So yeah, you can get a performance jump that big, but it requires a lot of extra stuff. This isn't just any game is going to be twice the performance and rasterization. As you can see right here, it is a 55% boost, got it right here, 55% improvement over the RTX 3090 Ti. So like I said, still a massive improvement. This is an 8-game average. When we go through, we see some pretty big boosts in performance here. Although I will say right here with Flight Simulator, it's not a really big boost at all. With that said, it got improvements other than just rasterization. So when we look right here, we can see I really like these performance metrics from Tech Power Up's review. We can see that it actually shows how much performance was lost from going with ray tracing turned off to turned on. And as you can see, it loses way less performance than last gen, well, depending on the game. Once again, it is still a really big boost over last gen, especially when we include things like ray tracing. It does seem to go up quite a bit more. For one, because of new ray tracing cores that are absolutely faster, new tensor cores, though that's more for DLSS. Either way, as we see down here. So this only lost 41% performance versus 45 of the 3090 Ti. This one right here is really the big one overall. It only lost 18% while at 1080p versus the 3090 Ti losing 39%. Of course, that's because at this point at 1080p, the GPU becomes less of a bottleneck, and that's why when we move down to 4K, it loses significantly more performance. Still, it loses less than last gen. Moving on, we see similar stuff across the board. It's doing very well, although right here, Cyberpunk 2077, it doesn't get a huge boost at 1080p, and really this is something I think that's really important. At these lower resolutions, you're not going to see a giant jump in performance just because your GPU isn't really the bottleneck here. But when we move down here in the exact same game, we see a massive performance difference. You know, we're talking nearly double the performance of last gen. Once again, right here, 1080p, it's essentially the same as last gen. But then when we move down to 4K in Deathloop, it gets a significant boost in performance. Basically, Nvidia's newest RTX 4090 is significantly more powerful than last gen. But if you're wanting to play at 1080p or really even 1440p, I would not suggest getting the 4090. And honestly, given the price, it's really tough to suggest it at all. If you want the absolute best, the fastest of the fastest, then you can't go wrong with the 4090, but you are going to pay a premium. With that said, I actually have some great news for even last gen GPU owners. As you can see right here, Nvidia recently released a game-ready driver, and it's not just for the RTX 4090. As you can see down here, Nvidia actually gave a boost in performance in DirectX 12 games. Now, this is specifically for the RTX graphics cards, so the 3000 series, I do believe the 2000 series as well. You can see it right here, the DirectX 12 optimizations apply to GeForce RTX graphics cards and laptops. So obviously that means the 1000 series unfortunately won't see a boost here, but for those that will, it looks pretty good. In Assassin's Creed Valhalla with the 3090 Ti, you get upwards of 24.5% higher performance, and it's actually across the board. The 3080 Ti sees 21.2 all the way down to the 3060 Ti, which didn't get as great a performance boost, but still it's free performance at 11.5%. Moving down in other games, Cyberpunk 2077 got a performance increase, Forza Horizon 5. Then we move over here. We see the same games at 1440p, still great performance boost. Then when we look over at performance mode, and this is kind of one caveat that I'm somewhat curious about with this. Each one of these have ray tracing and DLSS 2. I'm not sure if that means that those are required to really see any real tangible performance increase, but at least according to this, it does look like we're looking at just DirectX 12 games in general. Of course, these are likely some of the best performance increases that they saw, but any performance increase that's free is welcome. And next up for today, we finally get to see some new performance for Nvidia's RTX 4080 GPUs, and let's just say that 12GB card is not looking good. As you can see right here, the gray is DLSS off, then we have DLSS 2 and DLSS 3. Well, the DLSS off, I think, is really telling. The RTX 4080, you can see through each one of these games, there's 3 of them, loses to the 3090 Ti. Now, obviously, this isn't replacing the 3090 Ti or even the 3090, but even when we compare it to the 3080, it's not a huge performance increase. When we look over here, we can actually see the performance from video cards, and yeah, it loses to the 3090 Ti, just barely beats the 3080. We're talking 10 to 20%, and that's obviously not a big jump. It's actually pretty terrible for a new generation of GPUs, once again showing that, at least to me, the 12GB 4080 looks more like a 4070. Now, with that said, one of the big strengths here is DLSS 3.0. It does end up taking background when you include that, so overall it still is a decent GPU, but it really doesn't feel all that great given DLSS 3.0 has to be included in games, and you can see as of right now, Nvidia claims that There's only going to be 5 games that get the support. Yes, it's within this week, but that's still not many. How many of your games are going to be included with that? I'm not sure, but I'm more thinking in the future. If for whatever reason DLSS doesn't continue to gain ground and not many developers use it, that will not be great for the longevity of your GPU. And lastly for today, Nvidia looks to already be working on their 4090 Ti, at least if this story is correct. You can see that it was originally posted by this user on Twitter and later by Video Cards. And according to him, Nvidia is already taking some of their best dies and saving them for this 4090 Ti. According to him, it would be a 470 watt GPU with 18,176 CUDA cores, 96 megabytes L2 cache, 24 gigabytes. We're looking at a performance increase above the 4090 of between 10 to 20%. When we compare that to the 4090, we can see that yes, the CUDA cores have been increased. There is a higher boost clock as well. We're also looking at faster memory speeds, so this is of course a boost over the 4090. Now I will say that one leaker, Moore's Law is Dead, actually claims that Nvidia has more or less scrapped their 4090 Ti because it was like melting PSUs or something along those lines, but at least according to this, they're not only planning to release it, but they're already working on it. Of course, the question is how much something like this would cost. Time, as always, will tell. So while that does it for today, let me know what you think an RTX 4090 Ti would cost down in the description below. Are we talking starting at $2 grand, $2,500, or are we gonna see $3,000 for a GPU? What are your thoughts? And if you liked the video, please subscribe, and as always, have a great day.